Alright, so finally we're going to talk about specific bow strokes in violin. We're going to talk about the full form of Detache. So Detache, whether it's beginner form or advanced or whatever you want to call it, the definition is pretty simple. It's when you do smooth, even strokes, just over and over, back and forth as it comes, up and down, but smooth, even. So basically the speed, the weight of the bow, the placement, all that will stay the same as you go back and forth. And the bow changes usually are relatively smooth, so there's no articulation, although sometimes when you're trying to get a more sturdy détaché, a little bit of just natural articulation tends to happen. Excuse me. So I just wanted to point out that this advanced full form of détaché is most easily achieved if you go through the steps before it. Like the earliest form of détaché is quite easy, and because détaché itself is one of the most basic strokes, right? It's the most basic strokes if you're a beginner, before you start your beginner progression. And it's also, as you get into the advanced levels, it's also, and your body, the way you're using your body is changing. It also is the first stroke in the more advanced levels as you relearn and learn new strokes. Let me briefly show you what I mean by beginner. Beginner détaché, your smaller muscles are completely locked, right? And you are keeping the strokes relatively short, even, and smooth, but you're not using your smaller muscles at all. Now that still means, doesn't mean that you can't do détaché. Like, so when you first learn the Suzuki method and you do Mississippi hot dog or such, that is real détaché. However, that's not how it should be executed as you get older and more advanced, because if you do détaché, détaché is such a basic stroke, as you can see. Do that over and over, and such a basic stroke will be used over and over in many songs and pieces. Your arm, if you lock your smaller muscles, your bigger muscles will get completely tired, right? Okay, so the full form of détaché. Before the full form, you attempt to learn the full form, I would highly recommend that you first of all have mastered the bow stroke. So if you're watching this video and you still have bow problems that I've covered in the other videos, like for example, you're wrapped around like this, you easily lose the bow hold. When we lose it sometimes, that's normal, right? That's very normal for most of us. But like if you lose it quite often and you have like a flat thumb, or your pinky's always straight. So I guess I've already mentioned three big problems. Let's say your index finger's wrapping around, your thumb is straight, flat, tight here, your pinky is tight. Any of these problems, okay, then you really should fix those problems using the videos that I posted much earlier, probably the week 1 or 2 videos, and diligently practice making the correct posture your own for a while, at least 2 weeks, in my opinion, unless you're obsessing over it and doing it like 24 hours or 70 hours a day. Unless you're doing that, I would highly recommend that you let it kind of soak in before you attempt this. It's kind of like if you were to hold a tennis racket like this, and you were trying to do a beautiful topspin forehand and a backhand. The grip, the hold matters a lot. So that's why. Okay, so with détaché, grip first, and then the next requirement is that you have good mobility, okay, in your fingers. So you're able to move the bow up and down, back and forth, and also side to side, a little bit of pinky movement, okay, and you're able to do most of the what do you call it? Basically the strokes and finger exercises that I posted in previous videos, okay. This means that your smaller muscles and smaller limbs are mobile and just ready to be used. Okay, if not, you're gonna have to figure out how to use them. It's a big pain. So assuming you've done all of that, and you're fairly good at collé, let's say at the frog, you should keep the bow for basic détaché flat-haired, okay, and just use about 3 inches of bow in the beginning. Okay, and as you do it, okay, look for evenness of sound. So the up bow, the down bow should be even. Okay, now many advanced players, and I used to be like this even when I was not advanced, unfortunately, just love a more gentle stroke, like the sound. They always tend to play more like sweetly, gently. And when you ask them to do like glued détaché, like put the bow on the string, give it a little bit of weight, a little bit of pressure, and just go like a train. When you say that, you know, they'll often try to do something more elegant and sophisticated, like, right, they'll turn the bow on the side, give a little bit of detached motion, you know, sounds like détaché. So, but no, the classic traditional détaché in modern violin playing, keep the bow hair flat, a little bit of weight through the core grip, but also through the index finger as well, okay, and flat hair just back and forth. At slower speeds with bigger strokes, you can use your bigger muscles and just have your smaller muscles follow through and help. But as you go faster, what needs to happen is that you need to isolate your smaller limbs so that you keep your larger limbs still and then you only use your smaller limbs. The motion for the smaller, the détaché, faster détaché, originates from the wrist and the hand, okay? So it's this happening, okay? Now, as you've noticed, if you do this, right, the bow will be completely crooked. So to help with keeping the bow like straight, right, as you go down, your fingers extend, right, and as you come up, the fingers curl up. And this combined with the wrist motion, right, you're able to keep the bow relatively straight, okay? And in the beginning, a little bit of roll is sometimes inevitable. As you get more comfortable, you know, you try to get to a point where the bow is not rolling too much. I still roll a little bit, you see. Some of it is inevitable due to, you know, your wrist when you're using it. It turns a little bit in and out. Yeah. So that's inevitable. However, if your fingers, you know, are flexing and well, if you're not just using your wrist and your fingers are helping out the wrist, then the roll will be minimized, and also, yeah, you'll be able to keep a nice clean détaché. Now, so that's how you basically do détaché. You keep the core grip strong, okay, a little bit of pressure and weight here, as well as the index finger, so that you have a little bit of sturdiness in the sound, good contact, and then you use your smaller, the motion originates from the wrist, okay, and the fingers help out also to keep the bow straight. And you go back and forth, very, very evenly. Okay? Alright, so that's how détaché works. Final tip is that as easy as it is, this takes diligent practice until it is perfected. Okay? That's number one, because I used to ignore détaché because, I mean, like, come on, I'm playing Paganini, I'm playing, like, Ernst now, like, I can do détaché, like, I don't even need to practice. But I had a very flimsy détaché. I didn't always have, you know, good contact. I didn't have even contact. Sometimes my down bows were stronger than my up bows. All these little things were going wrong, which shouldn't be going wrong. And so when I had to produce like high quality playing, often I had this weird sloppiness despite my musicality and my ability to do pyrotechnical things. And the basic playing often felt a little not quite technically sound, and the fundamentals. That became a big problem, both in terms of results, the speed I produced the results, and so on. Final word is that a lot of advanced players do love that, as I mentioned, the more poetic, sophisticated, gentle sound, and so it will very much we will tend to avoid the harsh, almost like almost machine-like quality of good Detache, and that's not good. Detache, when you play it, should be almost aggressive sounding, okay? Because of its evenness. Okay, so it should be even, and you should actually look for that kind of train-like quality. I remember when I was studying with Aaron Ruzand, he really disliked my Bach Allemand from the Partita No. 2, because I kept doing what I thought was more sophisticated. I don't know if it sounded exactly like that, but I was kind of lifting the bow, kind of making it more, like pretty and all. And he was like, finally, he was like, okay, just go fast and just go at it like a train, okay? And that actually helped me, both stroke-wise as well as musically, to find the real music in the changing of the chords, not in my obsession with making it all portato and stuff. So, in any case, all right. So that's Detache. Make sure you practice it. First, practicing on the open strings to get the stroke. Try it, experiment a bit on scales, and then I highly recommend Wolfart number 1, Wolfart number 15, and Kreutzer number 2. In my opinion, these are some of the best etudes to develop your Detache, and of course the Allemand, the Bach Allemand from Partita No. 2. I think those are some of the best etudes and repertoire to try this Detache on. Yeah, okay, all right, thanks, bye.